staunch opinions. Three idiots with amateur analysis.
That's strange. There's so many of those things that pop up these days, but I've never seen those. Maybe it doesn't happen in Germany. Nobody's ever asked me.
Walk up to you and be like, sir.
I don't know if you're hanging out in those kind of areas.
What area is that?
Spring break.
Oh. I said sometimes go through Alexanderplatz.
Mexico.
which is the
when they have that, when they set up that little stage there and they serve Jamaican food and they're like, Sommerfest. And I'm like, I see tourists all the time. I'm like, why would you do that?
Why would it's the same question that you ask yourself, why would tourists go to Alexanderplatz in general? But
It is true, yeah.
I mean, it's a pretty
think
historic site.
I think it's worth a stroll. It's worth to go there and see it, but to go and sit and eat there and hang out there, and when the sun's shining, particularly, it's like this is the last place I'd be.
Yeah. Every time I walk past Alexanderplatz, I get reminded of Dom and my city tour services that
true,
we were
yeah.
offering.
That was close.
That didn't ever lasted quite long.
Well, we did one test run and then
No, then you gave him the job at the bar and hey,
The rest
presto, we were
is
good to go.
history.
Before you knew it, we were drinking on a rooftop and being paid to do it. So
yeah. Right, welcome back, everybody, to this week's What a Week segment. What a week it's been.
What a week. I'm tired, eh? Tired.
The people know we record this on Monday.
I know, but I'm tired. That's a problem. It's Monday and I'm tired.
Tired from the weekend.
Yeah, just too tumultuous last week with travel and then early golf rounds and stuff. So I'm just tired.
A lot of early round golfing and Düsseldorf, hey, for you.
Golfing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't golf in Düsseldorf.
No, but you recorded music in Düsseldorf.
Yeah, I did, yeah.
I was also very confused.
Some late. Actually, I was actually quite annoyed because on the Friday it was 21 degrees in Düsseldorf, and I thought we would be working continuously. And then on the Friday we ended up not actually spending that much time in studio, and I was outside in a t-shirt, and I was like, "There's literally a golf course 3 kilometers from here that I could have played." But alas, next time I'll just take my golf clubs on the train.
Yeah, it's so because we have to move out of this apartment, life has sort of just, come over me all at once.
You're
and
also tired.
And I was thinking about possible other cities that I could see myself living in. And golf is a really big factor in where I would choose to move, because I was a very big, I don't know what the English word is now.
Wanker. I'm kidding. I don't know.
I was
What's the
very
German
positive.
word?
I was very positive on Amsterdam
Oh,
for
true.
a while,
Yeah.
but the Netherlands just really isn't that golf friendly. So then I was thinking south of Germany, like Munich, but I don't like the people there. Not all people, but
I would challenge you on the Netherlands thing though, because I think particularly around, I think in Amsterdam, if you just search golf courses, I think there's a lot of super expensive, high exclusive stuff.
yeah,
But from when we were looking to maybe possibly film in the Netherlands, I was surprised at how many golf courses there were and relatively accessible. But I don't know about around Amsterdam, but there was a lot of golf courses, and they claim to be the second home to golf after the Scottish.
really.
Well,
Yeah.
they claim to have invented the game.
Okay, well
They
then
say
I've
it's
got to
actually
look into it
pronounced
again.
golf and not golf.
Okay, but people also claim things just for their own. Like this one girl told me today that spaghetti ice was invented in Gütersloh, where she's from, and that definitely wasn't true.
Also, why, a city is struggling for some sort of relevance when they're like, the city of spaghetti ice cream, I'll have you know.
Quickly before
To be fair, we as South Africans love to claim stuff as
But we've
well.
done a lot of great things.
We're like, oh, Monaco. Yeah, you know that he's married to a South African.
yeah,
I have to often stop myself because I think people particularly when I'm very often by miles, anything close to the only South African in a room, particularly when I'm writing songs and stuff. And because we speak German, if I'm in the session with German people, they have no idea that I'm from South Africa, And even recently they were talking about Lord of the Rings, and I was like, you know that and I had to stop myself because I was going to lecture them about how J.R.R. Tolkien wrote all the books in Bloemfontein.
Well, he didn't. He was just born in South Africa.
Other way around. Born in the UK and then he left and wrote all the books in Bloemfontein.
Comment in the comment section. That is not how it went down.
right.
But Roger Federer's mom is South African, so we've got that.
Yeah, and Charlize Theron is one of the 4 people, Afrikaans people, that used to live in South Africa.
But she got excommunicated.
And
by the
Afrikaans is a dying conversation.
Yeah.
She said Afrikaans is a dying language.
No, that's what I mean. She's one of the 4 people left that speaks it.
Quickly before we start, I want to give a quick shout out to my sister.
Yes, I saw that today.
swam the Groot Swim, which is a 7.5 kilometer swim from Robben Island, the prison island that Nelson Mandela was held on off the coast of Cape Town, all the way to Blouberg. 16-degree water temperature. She got seasick halfway through because of the swell. Then was throwing up in her mouth. Then swam on. I asked, how's the fear of sharks? And she says it only comes now and then. She bumped up against a few things that she was worried about, but then it was like things like jellyfish and kelp and stuff like that. But
Jeez.
I mean, when I saw the photos, it's like in the middle of a shipping lane there that you have to swim across.
Which beach are they swimming from?
They swim from Robben Island to Blouberg.
To Blouberg, okay.
Yes, that's far, bro.
It's intense.
And Blouberg gets windy, so I assume it gets quite choppy.
She actually says the temperature and the distance are fine. I mean, she was a swimmer for South Africa, so you'd expect her to do the distance.
Another famous South African that did amazing things.
Vanessa von Eyde, also South African. But the nausea was insane. So yeah, props to her.
If you were to do that swim, what would you be most afraid of? The endurance of cold or the sharks?
Well, I think swimming 7.5 kilometers for me is a stretch. But I think it becomes even worse when you can't control your heart rate because you're so worried about what's underneath you.
I must say 16 to me also seems warmer than what I would have in my mind. I mean, it's not warm, but any stretch.
I think with a wetsuit on, it's probably
when we did our triathlon, I think they said the water was 14 degrees, and I did not have a wetsuit.
Really?
And
Was it that cold?
It was cold, bro. I think they said they were like, I was standing in the crowd and I was like, I'm pretty sure this water's cold. And you know when you get caught off guard and you're like, one of the 5 things you do not want to hear right before you go into swimming in a triathlon is, oh, I'm so glad they allowed wetsuits today. And I'm standing there in like a 1999 entry-level triathlon suit doing my first triathlon. But 16 seemed like, for that reason, it seemed a bit warmer than I had in my head. But
I think it isn't. I think it isn't too bad.
Yeah.
I think it's cold, but it's not.
I think also
not
just to have for
gotta-
lack of a better term, the balls to even take on a swim like that is
Yeah.
insane. Like I wouldn't even cross my mind. I'd be like,
but it shouldn't. I mean, we're not on that. We're not swimmers. We should never think of doing something like that. On the cold level, I think the first thing you've got to do is pee early. Pee early in that wetsuit. Let it spread around inside.
You've given this a lot of thought.
Get you nice and warm. Well, I mean, I've swam in wetsuits before, and I have peed in them.
Is that why you think she vomited as well? Vomited for the warmth. Anyway, this is
You
bodily
think
fluid
vomiting is
heavy.
feeding the fish? Like, you think it's going to
That's
attract
what I was
some
thinking. I'm
sharks?
thinking if you're eating the wrong things there, maybe you're attracting sharks with your vomit. But I think we also overthink it. Also, when obviously Hollywood movies don't do any favors to sharks, but then I also think like when National Geographic does Shark Week, they obviously do it to educate you more about sharks and to take your fear away. But then those famous videos of like sharks jumping out of the water for a seal are all from those National Geographic shows.
But also with our modern world where news travels so quickly, we also hear about every single shark attack now.
Yeah.
So it seems like there's an abundance of them. I don't think there's more. I think now it's just like you read the headline. It's like surfer punches shark in the nose and then loses leg or some bullshit like that.
I once read the fatality of sharks is the same, like annually, is the same as getting hit in the head by a coconut or something to that effect.
No,
Which is, if it's true, it's I assume very low.
yeah. I also don't think sharks attack like you think in the movies where they just come out of nowhere and like you see them first because they sort of check you out first.
Oh, they might see you. I don't know if you see them.
This is all based on my very deep knowledge of sharks, but I still wouldn't do it.
This is what you tell us after that you still go for a swim there in wilderness.
Yeah, listen. As soon as I see, I'm quite honest. Like when I'm swimming in the ocean and I see like even like I think I see a dark shadow in like the wave, I'm leaving.
No,
I'm getting out.
Yeah, my heart rate is
No,
right
I
up
think
here.
And if something touches my leg, I'm definitely out.
you have to box clever. I think
That's just me swimming behind you.
you have to box clever for sure. I also just think it's ridiculous when people are like, "Oh, I'm so scared of sharks," but they've like driven in a car to get to the beach and like driving in a car in Germany. South Africa is so dangerous.
But you do it all the time. So you're so like numb to it.
but statistics still don't lie. You're still statistically more likely to be killed in a car accident than you are to be killed by a shark.
That's not the reasoning my head goes through when I look
I'm not talking about you. I'm not. You say if I see a dark thing in the ocean, then I'm going to be cautious and be aware of it. Other people are like, I refuse to swim because I will be killed by a shark.
Yeah.
That a bit dumb.
No. Yeah, listen, that's not the way to go. Klaus, tell us about your week. Have you seen anything that you liked?
Have I seen anything that I liked? Well,
Other than the pies that you made again?
other than the pies that I made again. On the weekend, Maxi organized a very fun golf tournament for us, and I got paired with a similar handicapper to myself. And from the onset, most people were saying that we should have the best chance of winning because of being like mid-table and handicaps and whatnot. And I'm not gonna lie, the pressure did sort of get to me a little bit. I was like, oh man, like I really can't blow this up. And then the guy that I was playing with, he's a heavy hitter in the sense that he bombs that ball so far. But unfortunately, sometimes it goes a little bit left, sometimes it goes a little bit right. So you need to stay quite consistent. And I was convinced the entire time that your two teams were somehow ahead of us. Yours not so much, I think.
That's hectic.
What the fuck, man?
Because what I had been told in the other 4-ball is that your partner is still trying to figure out his swing, let's say.
He did come right eventually, but yeah, it was tough going in the beginning.
And Dominic's the teammate was a complete anomaly because, or not anomaly, that's the wrong word, a complete dark horse because we've never seen him play before.
Yeah.
So
as soon as a guy is like 2'7" or whatever he is, and he can swing, you know that ball's going to go far when he makes contact
He
with
hits
it.
it long. He keeps up to you, actually.
Yeah,
I think
he
if he
hits
gets
it.
hold of it, he hits
And
it.
he hits it just as high. It was
Yeah.
very,
Oh, really?
very pleasant.
so you felt like you had
Felt
friends.
right at home.
I know. We what our downfall was is that we both fell apart at exactly the same time.
It was
And
interesting
that's not good
that
for best ball. It's not good.
it was interesting that both of your teams had the same amount of points at the end.
Yeah, I think our days. I mean, we knew we were neck and neck for most of the day.
Yeah.
So, but the win got to us in the end. But
So your observation of the week was that you got nervous.
that you won,
You won. You just like to remind
despite
everyone.
all the nerves,
My
you managed
observation
to.
is that at the end of the day,
against
I'm
all
actually,
odds.
I'm actually quite good.
You should post that on LinkedIn.
Oh, true. I wonder if that could get me any more jobs.
Dude, I don't think people care. I think it's just post it and then build it and they will come.
I'll send you a little celebration thing there.
Oh, thanks. Can you credit it as one of my top skills?
Yeah, hundreds. No, you must do that yourself. That's the cool thing about LinkedIn. You can just tell people that you're amazing at everything.
I didn't match the correct socks today. I'm so
Yeah,
exciting.
innovation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dom, lead us off. What have we got?
First observation is also golf related, but not so much in the golf. It's so funny. We've got a couple guys in our golf team, lovely guys, but all a bit older and a bit like middle aged. And our relationship with them is just so interesting to me. Like them, love them. When I see them at the golf course, love to say how's it, have a beer. But there's this weird how these relationships develop. Like I had the one guy just calling me today, and I answer the phone, and I'm just like, they all have businesses, and who knows, maybe they need me to sing a jingle for his gardening business, And I'm just like, hi. And he goes, yo, so yesterday was quite hectic, eh?
He thinks
In full German. And I'm like, yeah, because yesterday there was a tournament and it took them like 6 hours to play. That's the only reason he called me.
Yeah, but he just wants to chat. I think
He
he thinks you guys are like
Mates, eh? Buddies.
mates.
Yeah. He wants a Mikey.
He wants a Mikey.
Yeah, he wants a
I was about to
Mikey.
say, if he wants Mikey, it's the wrong place. Anyway, but he did also come. He was the same friend that came to the Rugby World Cup in 2023, the final.
And left his jacket there.
Left his jacket there. Heard about that for a while as well.
Yeah. I think he feels drawn to you, and I think you get those friends who sometimes just call you out of the blue without having anything to talk about.
That's true. Yeah, maybe. So I've got a friend for life, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Do you think you might be good at gardening?
Definitely. I don't know. He can come do some work on my terrace if he wants. There's no garden there though.
Can I just quickly interject on the golf thing, because I'll let you go to your second observation afterwards. I think it's fucking bullshit that I get a photo posted of me sleeping in the back of the car by this dude. You know what happened when we got home? He
took a
fucking
long
tucked
ass
himself
nap.
under that blanket and slept for an hour
But
and
you
a
got
half.
to return the favor.
Slept for an hour and a half, dude, with his little quack hat or whatever he was wearing next to him. And I was like, this is fucking bullshit.
Do you think I've never been photographed sleeping before?
I've got a whole album.
My point exactly.
But I don't post it.
Yes, you have.
I have, yes. Right.
So,
On you go, Dom.
While we're on this theme, Klaus, I've noticed today. I noticed something interesting creep into your messaging.
my messaging. I don't spell check or anything.
No,
I
it's
just-
not the spell check.
Oh, right.
It's this new habit, and I think you sent 3 messages today in various groups and to me, starting the message with "well," and then you continue to say. And it's like there's this famous skit about Afrikaans with the word mos. And if you haven't watched it and you speak Afrikaans, you should totally watch it. But it's like, well, well, and I'm just like, I ask Klaus something and he's like, well, and I just want the people and all of us to understand what's happening.
I couldn't tell you. I don't know where that's from. Maybe it's my British roots starting to come in.
I'm very intrigued by that. I'm actually going to go back through the messages today and see.
I haven't even noticed that myself.
It's all right. That's why it's my observation. But I had a good giggle to myself.
You know what I've noticed about my texting is that when I say, hey, how are you doing? I feel weird just writing hey once. So I've started writing hey.
Jesus, yeah.
Because that's, to my eye, looks better.
You're so in your own head.
And then I look at it, I'm like, that
My
seems
God.
childish. I need to remove that second hey.
Are you starting quotes to businesses with hey?
What do you say in German?
I have.
What do you say in German? Hallihallo.
You're so playful, Klaus.
So I never know how this guy is going to greet me.
Oh, that's fantastic. Can we just quickly mention the hard launch that Tiger Woods did with his new relationship?
Yeah.
I think it's the classic case of there's a lot of rumors. The whole world knows, but I'm going to pretend like I'm controlling the narrative.
But is it? I found to start it with love is in the air.
I mean, it's very. I think it's indicative of where he is in life.
Yeah.
What song is that?
Love is in the air, everywhere and now down. I don't know who it's by though.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what he was quoting.
No, sure, but it is bizarre.
Did you
Also, for anybody who doesn't know, he's now dating Vanessa Trump.
Which is
Donald
Eric
Trump.
Trump's.
No, Donald Trump Jr.
Donald Trump Jr.
Oh, Donald Trump Jr.'s ex.
Yeah. Did you hard launch your relationship on Instagram?
No, I think we also still not even
Officially dating.
official on Facebook.
Really?
Yeah, no, I've never seen.
You
the
know
need
what you
for it.
also need to do on Instagram? You need to put a little heart and then just an S, so people know that you love someone
Yeah.
starting with an S.
Yeah. And then maybe their birth date as well.
Yeah, or the lock
True.
emoji, so people know
Or the ball and chain.
this Oaks.
Good Lord. You guys just keep making those pies, Klaus.
Klaus is just trying to lure in someone that he can put on his Instagram photo.
on the theme of like the lock and heart thing, I wish there was some sort of statistical analysis to those dumb bridges. Like how many of those locks, what the percentages of people that put locks on those bridges with their name carved
yeah.
onto them, how long those relationships
But they
last.
sometimes have to remove some of the railing
All
because
the
they get too
time.
heavy.
They're actually not, the one in Salzburg, they built it in such a way that they can remove panels, so they don't have to actually. So they can just cut a panel off. So as soon as the bridge starts getting too heavy, they can just take panels off.
I think the
Unreal.
first person to have ever done that must have felt like quite like cool, because that's like, here, our love is locked against this bridge forever. But if you're the 10 millionth person to do this, like, what's the story behind it?
Do you think this is something that like lock producers initiated
sure.
to bump up the sales?
For sure.
It's like the whole story about diamonds.
What's the whole story about diamonds?
Is that it's all just the value of diamonds was purely like it is purely a marketing stint, and this whole diamonds are forever and diamonds are a girl's best friend, like that song was funded by De Beers.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh,
so it's like whole Coca-Cola and Santa thing.
oh yeah.
Yeah, that was created to so like it's a lot of people argue that the value of diamonds, it is all obviously figments of our imagination anyway, but outside of their use in tools and whatever, that diamonds is just completely manufactured value, of course.
Yeah.
And now that they're so obviously all very angry that now you can make lab-grown diamonds in like a matter of very short time. I saw the CEO of De Beers talking about it, and he was so bitter about it. I was like, bro, well, they've got you, bro. Like,
Imagine if your whole job gets taken up by a machine. That's like
that's close, bro. Give it
that's
2 years.
close, yeah.
I think he would be fine.
Yeah. Last thing I want to mention is the real problem. I don't think it's just when you order online food, but when you're in a restaurant, the amount of food you order when you're hungry is a real problem.
What did you do?
Let me give you let me
What did you
tell
do?
the story.
Yes.
I wake up after my 1.5 hour nap. The doorbell rings. Maxie gets very excited, jogs
Yes,
off to the.
there's nothing like food excitement though.
And this
Yeah.
guy, you know, like the footage from The Grinch where he like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's how Maxie
I
then
dance my
fucking
way to the door there.
tap dances his way to the door, comes back, and I know like he's sort of said he's like, oh, remember how good Domino's is, and I'm expecting 1, maybe 2 pizzas. He's got 2 pizzas, Then he's got, and then he's like, no, but it's a 2-for-1 special. Then he's got himself pizza rolls, of which there were like 12 in there or something ridiculous.
Did you get yourself any chicken strippers?
No, he got himself churros as a dessert.
Nice. How much of it did you eat?
I ate one pizza roll, and all the churros.
Oh, no, that's all right.
And then I just wolfed down the other pizza.
That's
before we
a
started recording.
distinction in South Africa
Yeah,
for pass rate.
I felt like I did all right, but it was when I was scrolling through that menu, I could have ordered so much.
It's bad. It's
a
so bad.
real problem.
It's so bad. But it's the same. It's the way the thing is also built up that it first takes you through like the popular dishes, and then they're in our heads, bro.
They run it just like IKEA.
100%.
But it's also now I've gotten to a point where if I'm out eating pizza, like I'm legitimately concerned that one pizza is not enough for me anymore. It's a real, when I'm like out with friends or on a date or something, I'm not going to order 2 pizzas. People are going to be like, Jesus.
But why don't you just have a quick snack before you go in?
Yeah,
just to dull the hunger.
That's what I started doing.
Like a doner before I go into the pizza.
Yeah, bro. And she's like, why does this guy's breath smell like garlic sauce?
Onion and garlic sauce.
I went to the pizzeria down the road here on Friday, on Saturday or whenever
I
it was.
overheard you telling the story while I was half napping, and I was like, Klaus, you are such a middle-aged white lady.
Yeah. Well, so I didn't want to
It's
against
against
anything.
the Constitution. Okay, hold on. Let's do the story
You
first.
tell the people what happened.
I didn't want to drink anything, so I was just like, "Oh, do you mind? Could I have a glass of tap water?" And she's like, "No. We can only sell water to you. You can't drink tap water." And I was like, "Well, I mean, legally, you're supposed to have be able to require tap water." And she's like, "No, we don't do that." I was like, well, it doesn't matter if you want to do it or not. That's not the point. Anyway, so she's like, so what do you want that you have to pay for? And I was like, well, then I don't want anything to drink. I'm fine. For the rest of the evening, this waitress was just pissed off with me the entire time. I was like, I don't understand how this is not my fault. Because her bosses said, no, they're too cheap to give out free water. It's not like I'm sitting there not still buying stuff from them.
They're too cheap to give out free water, or are you too cheap to buy a little bottle of water?
Dude, it's like $5 for a bottle of water.
I can't believe you got into an argument about the law of free water in a restaurant.
Well, Maxie, we've got to draw a line somewhere, and I think drawing the line at water, which is a
your
human
defense,
right.
a basic human. In your defense, you didn't have you kind of left it, is what you told me. Like it wasn't a full blown argument.
No,
because he's also on a
made
date.
I made my two comments.
But the thing is that
I wouldn't have gone further than that.
No,
What do
I'm
you think?
saying-
Would you think I would have been like supervisor?
Yeah, because if you would have with the 3 of us, would you have asked
you
it to take it
you-
higher?
You know,
No.
you gotta go. You gotta be like, well, can you just bring me a glass? I'll pretend to drink something and quench my thirst.
And then just go fill it up in the bathroom.
Exactly.
You're not scared that waitress spat into your food?
No,
Okay. Did you give her a nice tip?
I actually didn't pay, so I had no control over
You
the
dine
tip.
and dash.
But I would have not given a tip.
Yes.
At least not a big one.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but don't fuck with my basic human rights. That's all I was saying.
All right, and I think on that note, let's wrap up this week. I hope you've had a good one. Thanks for tuning in, and we hope to see you again next week. Have a good weekend.
Cheerio.